There's a god you have never heard of, and you have been carrying him around since you were old enough to feel embarrassed. His name was Momus. He does not have a famous myth. He does not have a constellation, a planet, a Marvel movie, a single statue you could name. He was thrown out of the company of the gods so early and so completely that most of what survives about him is the reason he left. That reason is the whole story. And once you hear it, you will not be able to stop noticing him. He is in the room with you right now. Start with what Momus actually was. Not war, not love, not the sea, not the harvest, not fate. Momus was the god of blame, of mockery, of the small, precise, correct criticism that nobody asked for and everybody needed. The Greeks did not invent him to explain lightning or the tides. They invented him to explain a feeling, the specific, cringing, accurate feeling of being seen and found slightly ridiculous. He lived on Olympus in the beginning with the rest of them, and he had one job which he performed with total dedication and zero tact. He criticized everything the other gods made. Poseidon built the bull. Strong, fast, magnificent. Momus said its horns should have been placed below its eyes so it could see exactly where it was about to gore something. Athena built the house. Sturdy, sensible, well-proportioned. Momus said it should have had wheels so a person could roll it away from bad neighbors. Hephaestus, the smith god, the one who forged thunderbolts and armor for heroes, built a human man, whole and complete, muscle, breath, a beating heart. Momus looked at it and said it was flawed. He said the chest should have had a small door in it, a window hinged that a person could open, so that everyone could see at any moment exactly what a man was thinking and feeling on the inside. His jealousy, his fear, his love, his contempt. Laid open for inspection, with no wall between the self a man performs and the self underneath it. The other gods did not appreciate the note. Sit with that specific complaint for a second, because it is not a throwaway joke from a dead religion. It is the single most modern thing anyone in Greek mythology ever said. A window in the chest. Momus was not mocking the human body. He was pointing at the exact mechanism you have spent your entire life managing. The gap between what you feel and what you show. The performance. The face you arrange before you walk into a room. The version of yourself you post and the version that sits alone afterward. Scrolling, checking, waiting to see whether the performance landed. Every filter is a wall Momus wanted removed. Every carefully worded text, reread 4 times before sending, is a door he thought should simply hang open. Every time you have said, "I'm fine," while your chest did something else entirely, that is the exact flaw he diagnosed in a story written down before Rome existed, before the word authentic was a marketing term, before anyone had a chest cavity to hide behind a screen. He was not being cruel. That is the part people miss. Momus never claimed the gods' creations were worthless. He said the bull was strong. He said the house was sound. He said the man was, on the whole, well made. He only ever pointed at the one place where the design was hiding something from the people who had to live with it. That is not mockery. That is the least comfortable kind of love. The kind that tells you the truth about the one part of you that you were hoping nobody would check. Zeus threw him out anyway. Different versions of the story disagree on the specifics, but they agree on the shape. Momus criticized one god too many, once too visibly, in front of the wrong audience, and he was cast down from Olympus and out of the company of the gods entirely. Some say he was banished for mocking Zeus's own creation. Some say the gods simply grew tired of being right in front of him. Either way, the pattern is the same pattern you already know. The room did not fix the flaw. The room removed the person who named it. This has happened to someone you know. It may have happened to you. There is a very specific kind of person who says the true, uncomfortable, structurally correct thing at a family dinner, in a meeting, in a group chat, and watches the temperature of the room drop. Not because they were wrong, but because being right, out loud, at the wrong moment, is its own kind of crime. Momus was the god of that exact moment. He was exiled for it. Twice in some tellings before the myths simply stopped mentioning him, because a god nobody will host is a god who eventually has nowhere left to appear. Here's the part that should actually unsettle you. Momus did not disappear. Exiled gods, in Greek myth, tend to become something quieter and more permanent than a personality with a temple. Later writers, the Romans picked this up eagerly, turned Momus into something closer to a principle than a person. Not a god you prayed to, a god you became, in brief, involuntary flashes, every time the small, cruel, accurate voice in your head points at something you built and says, The horns are in the wrong place. There should have been a window. You know this voice? Everyone does. It arrives uninvited when you look at something you made. A text, a face in the mirror, a decision, a whole year of your life. And it does not lie to make you feel better. And it does not lie to make you feel worse. It simply notices the one seam you were hoping to keep covered. That is Momus, not a myth you read about. A god still doing his one job, from exile, with no temple and no altar, using your own skull as the only Olympus that will still let him in. There is one more piece of the story, and it is the part almost nobody tells. Before he was thrown out, before the bull, before the house, before the man with no window in his chest, Momus made one criticism that the other gods could never quite answer. He looked at the entire arrangement of Olympus, the gods judging mortals, handing down flaws and virtues from on high, never once opening their own chests to inspection. And he asked why the rule only ran in one direction. If a man should have a window, he said, so should a god. Nobody built one. Not for Zeus, not for any of them. The gods kept their true feelings exactly as sealed as the humans they judged, and it was this asymmetry, the demand for transparency flowing only downward, never up. That got him cast out for good. Which means the last thing Momus ever pointed at before he vanished from the record was not a human flaw at all. It was theirs. So here's what to do with a small, obscure, uncelebrated god of mockery, 3,000 years after his temple, if he ever had one, turned to dust. The next time that voice arrives, the one that finds the seam, names the flaw, points at the door that should have been a window, do not simply exile it the way Olympus did. Ask it what it is actually asking for. It is not asking you to be perfect. It never asked the bull to be a different animal. It only ever asked for one door, hinged in one wall, so that the thing underneath the performance could occasionally be seen by somebody, including you. Open it sometimes, on purpose, before he has to break in. Subscribe if you would like to hear from more gods nobody bothered to remember, and Momus already has notes on this video. He is choosing, for once, not to share them.